Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Nate.
Try anything and you're canceled, bro.
Don't cancel
Canceled.
me. Don't
Canceled.
No,
No.
Don't cancel me, please.
I'm filming you.
Stop it. Don't cancel. Well, welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, where each week we take a look at a different horror movie and debate a horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victim, who's usually not someone we would consider a horror fan. So look, this week, we made an error, Nate, when we renegotiated Lisa's contract. Yeah, so we basically wrote in we have in her contract that she's supposed to watch every movie. However, we didn't say that if the movie's named the same thing as the original, like that, she doesn't have to watch both.
I already watched that.
She's like, I already watched. Sorry. So for this week's movie, we're staying here and talking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but the new one, not the one we already watched with her.
Just like this movie, you got to check the contract.
Always. I mean, that's important.
We'll get into that one.
For sure.
Check the contract.
This is also a unique episode. You know, it's. I think it's important that we are doing a review on our namesake, because I mean we have some big news for everyone. Yeah. I mean, this show is not totally 100% live from Houston, Texas anymore. Mr. Nate, would you like to?
It's now Texas/Portland Massacre.
Oh,
that's right. I have moved to Oregon, so this is the first episode from Oregon, home of the filming location of the Goonies. That's how I'm going to lead off with that.
I don't know who. Yeah,
I'm gonna lead off with Goonies and go from there. There are a couple Oregon specific horror films that we will be getting into very shortly. So Get excited for Oregon.
Yeah. So for the last few weeks, we've actually had quite an interesting 6-ish months between you and I. I think we've both changed jobs. You've now moved in the last literally like week, 2 weeks. There's been a lot going on. So that's yeah. I mean, it's been, I'm glad we've been able to do these episodes. I'm amazed we've pulled off all these episodes with everything kind of going off. But yeah, look, good.
Well, as I look, the one positive of this movie is that it's 80 minutes. I want the more movies that are 80 minutes. And to be fair, you could have skipped through about 30 of them. The better. Not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep churning them out. I want Host 2. I want Host 3. Give me a 60-minute. I think Ginger Dead Man might have been like a tight 70. So those are helping the cause. I do appreciate that. But yeah, so now it's Texas and Oregon together. You got the hillbilly Texas Chainsaw Massacre type horror. I have the Pacific Northwest Native American type horror coming in on this side. So
there you go.
Good mix. Good mix.
Good mix. Yeah. So, I mean, what this means for everyone listening, not a whole lot. I mean, with the pandemic, you and I really hadn't, and Lisa, of course, hadn't been really in the same room recording. Hell, Lisa's not usually in the same room as me She's like, I'm gonna go do this.
You were like, the CDC said people of the same household could be together. She's like, hard pass.
Yeah, let's
why
risk it? No, but so we will obviously we got some new equipment stuff we'll work out and all that, but nothing really changes. We're still here, so if you're worried that this is the beginning of the end, no, not
really. No.
But
I have even better beer to sustain me. So if anything, I'll only get stronger.
Oh my God. Well, there you go. Well, look, if you're worried, let us know. We're here for counseling. Otherwise, the show's going to go on as per usual. And with that, let's get into this week's debate question.
Bid our father, the Sea King, rise from the depths full foul in his fury. Black waves teeming with salt foam to smother this young mouth with pungent slime.
I mean, look, I know that's Willem Dafoe, but Robert Pattinson, you need to go watch the Batman, Nate. That's all I'm going to say. Just go do it. I know it's 3 hours. I know we just said, hey,
it's 3 hours long. It's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No chance.
Look, Nate, what if you could see the movie Seven, but it starred Batman instead of Brad Pitt? Because that is what the new Batman is. It is more of a detective movie. It is, dare I say, closer to a serial killer horror-esque, like whodunit.
What's in the cave? What's in the cave?
Yeah.
Is that how it goes?
A little bit. I mean, you're not far off, but it's,
God.
That's good. That's all I'll say. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new one.
The new one. This is two 2022 movies in a row. So 2022s right now. We're in the year.
If only we had recorded this episode on February 22nd, we could have really just.
We're way off. We're not even remotely close. No. But it's we got another the term that we learned in Scream, Requel. We're in Requel City right now.
That's right. So Nate, what debate question do you have for this one?
Look, they're redoing Texas Chainsaw Massacre as a Requel, which means basically in this calendar year, we're going to see like 80-year-old Leatherface versus 80-year-old Michael Myers terrorizing people. Why? They're so old. They're so old. Doesn't make any sense. Why are they so old? I don't like it. I was thinking, hey, there's a bunch of other movies we could be remaking instead. Which one would I prefer? And I'll go first. Okay. I would love to see an Invasion of the Body Snatchers current day cell phones. Social media. Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
My worry with that is like, okay, look, there's the original, which is great. The remake, which is great. I just don't know that you're going to strike. The lightning's going to strike a third time. You know what I mean? Like I think.
Well, there was a 1991 though. Just don't worry about that. It was George Romero joint actually, but just don't worry about that one. Or is it John Carpenter? You don't think so? Oh, I think they could with the phones. They're in the phones. Come on.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, I have multiple backups. So next one. Look, everyone's been clamoring for it. Let's just get out of the way. Tourist Trap 2.
So wait, are you making that a Requel? Are you
sure?
Okay.
If you want to bring back a bunch of 80-year-old lumbering people who are murdering someone, might as well bring back Mr. Slauson at the old Tourist Trap. The effects and the dolls will be better. I don't know. I guess the dolls were really creepy by themselves. But that premise works still, and I would love to see it, and no one else would. A real one that I actually would like to see is I would love to see And I think Lisa would be on board for this one. I want to see a Tucker and Dale versus Evil sequel.
Okay. But you want a sequel, not a requel.
I want a sequel to that one. Yes, correct. I think that the horror comedy space has still got tons of room for a Tucker and Dale type movie. Every 15 years. Like, I want to see them actually get older, and then they make about 3 of them, and they're good. That's it. But more horror comedies with sequels. I think, the dream is a Zombievers 2 or Zombies.
Sure.
That's the dream, but I don't want to fly too close to the sun on that perfection right there. But those are some of mine that I was looking at.
That's fair. I don't know. At first I was thinking, like, what are some movies that I really kind of like, but I know are like terrible, like films that maybe they could do better. And I thought,
they've already done 100 Puppet Masters.
Well, fair. I thought about Urban Legend, but then I was like, but didn't they just, wasn't that just the dark web horror movies that we saw in that basically?
Unfriended. Yeah. Unfriended.
Yeah. So I don't know. Now it's not, okay. We did an episode on this. I mean, The Running Man is just due for a reboot or or whatever. Okay. And Arnold could be involved in it somehow in a small like callback or something.
It was almost too prescient. Like, it was almost too perfect, right? Nailing like the kind of reality show, competition show type thing before they even existed. I mean, it was so good. It'd be hard to make one, but I think it might work. I mean, I don't see why not. Better than another Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They rebooted like 100 times.
Yeah. The only other one I don't know. I mean, because if you think about like your major franchises, right? You've already been doing Halloween to death.
Halloween's already got requel. I guess people could say Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, okay, so I was kind of leading into a Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Could you look, the 2010 reboot is so bad. Could you basically just do a requel that had that I don't know. The problem is because kind of one of the requels, one of the first requels was to me like Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah. It made it seem like it was the movie, and then he came out of the movie because that. So yeah, you could requel New Nightmare.
Oh, what about Wishmaster?
I don't like Wishmaster.
How do you not like Wishmaster?
It's like, yeah. Everyone.
No, it's not.
That's the voice.
None of that happened.
That's the voice.
None of that
And
happened.
then he goes like, and then it's like, your wish has unintended consequences. Every time. Who gives a shit? Every time. Yeah, we understand.
The lawyer fucks himself to death. What else do you want? That is quality cinema. I don't understand.
I don't know. They had Tony Todd as like a bodyguard who got murdered. I don't know. I guess that was a positive. I don't know.
That was a positive.
I don't know. I like seeing Tony Todd. I don't know. But
no.
It's tough. I mean, speaking of Tony Todd, you could do Final Destination, but yeah, we did that so many times. I wouldn't really go into that. I think, I would love, never would happen, but I'd love to see actually an It Follows 2. But what do you even do with the story? I guess.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem with just straight sequels, right? Like the requels.
Yeah, you can't do
the requels. At least you have a chance to, if you have a good vision of what you might want to do. Like for instance, I think one that I'm actually excited for is going to be Prey, right? Because I think that's going to be such an interesting take on effectively what was the first Predator, right? It's just.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot, more like with what's 300 years in the past or whatever. I mean, so yeah. even more woefully underarmed. But
yes.
when you have you're a civilization that actually hunts more often, and I think having like the commandos and all, I don't know. I could that one could be good. I mean, look at some of the other ones. Like, no one needed a new Jeepers Creepers. I'm willing to go ahead on a limb and say that one is probably going to suck.
There's an Exorcist trilogy coming out from David Gordon Green, who just did Halloween.
I mean, we're getting a Hellraiser reboot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, Exorcist? Like, Exorcist 3 wasn't too bad. The second one was one of the most boring movies. I think I fell asleep like as a child. Like, I'm like, oh, Exorcist. Like, I'm so tired. Exorcist has not had a great run in general. And so, yeah, they're picking that. I don't know. There's a lot better ones. I think Invasion Body Snatchers would be perfect. Basically, what you do is you remake it every 20 to 30 years, and then 3 out of the 4 are good. That's what I say. And I mean, they're already doing Leprechaun still, Mitch. They already requeled Leprechaun.
Oh God.
Or was it requel? No, it's reboot. They rebooted Leprechaun. That's different, right? I don't know.
You're saying words, but I'm not.
Ginger Dead Man? Is Ginger Dead Man primed? I mean, what are we talking about here?
No.
Okay, I'm fine. I'm going to throw my hat in the ring one more time. Piranha 3 3D.
You're just saying things that don't even make sense. I don't even.
Oh, 1 BR, but not 2 BR. Okay, now we're starting to get something.
Remind me, did they actually remake Eraserhead?
No, I don't think so.
I don't even know if that would be a good one. I'm thinking through like movies that like old. Like I started to think like, okay, is there old movies? But then I keep thinking about The Mummy, and if I have to see Tom Cruise in a film, I'm gonna scream. I don't know, because I was thinking about like the MonsterVerse, but they tried that and it bombed so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many, but I'm gonna stick with Invasion Body Snatchers.
What about a reboot of Rosemary's Baby?
They did a TV version of it, and that was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Oh, okay.
Ever. It was.
And they've done Black Christmas twice now.
Yeah, Black Christmas.
What about House? Houseu.
Oh, I was like, I mean, Hugh Laurie's pretty great. No, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm even thinking like Poltergeist is a movie I used to watch as a kid all the time. But I think they redid that. And
they did it. And two was okay. 3, not as much. And then they did a remake with is it Sam Rockwell? Because every horror movie got remade in the 2000s. Right. So, or early 2010s. So yeah, they already redid that. Yeah, I don't know. There was a Rosemary's Baby Part 2, which was a TV movie that was abysmal. And then there was in 2014 a 4-hour television miniseries adaptation that was also abysmal. And I watched both of those. Yeah. So that's on me.
Fool me once.
That's on me. It did have the Rosemary character was in the second one too.
Okay.
The Woodhouse, the neighbors, right? She was in there. That was fun.
I wouldn't mind a reboot of Tales from the Crypt.
Okay, now you're talking. A reboot of anthology things is probably the thing that actually works the most, because you can
make a new story and just
you can make new stories that are more contemporary and then weave it into like the overall kind of narrative. Is small, so then it is not intrusive if you keep redoing it.
I mean,
actually would work a lot.
I mean, Creep Show's showing you can do it. I mean, I don't know how much of the new Creep Show you've been watching. It's good.
I watched the first season.
The second season was pretty good.
And I watched the Christmas one where they like murdered a million things in that one room or whatever.
Oh yeah.
so many kills.
Yeah.
The anthology stuff. Actually, Tales from the Crypt could be really good. Actually. Okay. All right. I think that's yours. Okay.
I was about to say, I know, that's why I said it.
we took 20 minutes to get there. All right.
Oh, sweet. Goodness. All right. Well, look, which one do you want to see a requel on? Which one are you least excited about? I want to hear all of it. You can let us know at TexasPodcastMassacre@gmail.com, TX Pod Massacre on Twitter, Texas Podcast Massacre everywhere else. Guys, the phone number, just because Nate left doesn't mean the phone number changed. 346-246-3143. That's 346-246-3143. Call. Let us know what you think. We want to hear from you. Hey,
Troll 4. Hold on a second. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. Well, look, speaking of god awful movies, we got a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. So thank you, Red Skulls 13. We got a 5-star. You were the best horror podcast I ever heard. Keep it up. That seems overly generous, but I'll take it.
Only listen to one. That's fine. We'll take it. We will take it.
So it looks like Red Skulls was very loved our Ginger Dead Man episode, and
who wouldn't,
is requesting we follow it up with the sequel, Passion of the Crust. Worst movie ever, needs to be reviewed. Well,
worst movie ever?
Well,
I don't know.
We'll find out, because we're going to review that movie. We are going to wait. Look, we're gonna wait just a little bit, but I think you'll understand why when we release it. But very soon we will review that movie. Of course, we'll have Lisa. We'll try and see if we can get someone else to also join in on the fun. Man, who would we had to go back? We might have to go back to the vault.
I just don't know. I mean, where is the loyalty to Gary Busey on this? Because Gary Busey isn't in the second movie. So, I mean, basically this request is just saying, like, Gary Busey, look, this person is more loyal to the character of Ginger Dead Man than Gary Busey, which is intriguing.
I have questions.
So there's that,
but we'll save them. Who is John Vilich?
I don't know.
That's apparently who is the Ginger Dead Man.
Who knows? I know it's not Gary Busey. That's all you really need to know at that point. I don't know. I don't know.
All right. Well,
there's so many. There's Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong. Off the top of my head, I got so many. There's roller disco ones. Great.
This can't be. Look, I'm already looking at the thing. Why is in the cast it says Edgar Allan Poe as scary writer dude? God. I already hate this.
It's another Full Moon Entertainment joint, which is so sad that I know that. And I know it's less than 90 minutes. So I mean, that again, maybe this is in my wheelhouse.
All right. Well, look, we are contractually obligated to do this. So thank you for your 5-star review. Really appreciate it. You, listener, can listen to them as a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, on Podcast Addict, on whatever else. I don't know. There's probably others. Let us know. Email us. Share our shit on social media and tell people to listen. And as always, you don't tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Make them suffer with us. Either way, we'll take anyone. With that said, Nate, I think it's time. Let's get into this week's movie of the week, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, parentheses 2022.
So Harlow is a ghost town.
We have a vision for this place. All it needs is young blood.
I don't want to live here. This is a chance for people to start fresh somewhere safe. Hey guys, you should see this.
What are you doing in our house? You really shouldn't be here.
Oh my God.
This is Hardesty.
Sally? I'm afraid your old friend's back.
50 years I've been waiting for this night. Just to see him again.
Who?
Leatherface. Looks like it's you that he wants.
I'm not gonna let him kill you. Fear no evil. Fear no evil.
Try anything and you're canceled, bro.
Oh, fuck.
Oh boy. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yep.
Try anything and you're canceled. Well, okay, so before we get into it, I mean, I didn't actually watch the trailer for this previously. Why
would you?
Well, I don't know. When it came out, when it came out though, my Twitter feed was glorious, Nate, because you had either people who were complaining about the wokeness in the film, and then you had I don't know, the reactions were all over the place with this. And I try not to, especially if I know it's a movie we're going to review. I try not to read too much of what other people kind of say online because I don't want to go in with any sort of preconception. But they were just
you really get impacted. You really get impacted by the pre talk of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't come in or I don't watch with an open mind or anything, but it certainly sets my expectations, and that can certainly contribute. Nate, well, I guess we don't have an unsuspecting victim. I'm the unsuspecting victim, I guess, in this case. I didn't even know this movie was coming out. What is this movie about? Did you see the first one? There you go.
Guy got old.
Yeah,
guy got old.
And I have questions.
So let's go by the age of the original Leatherface, Gunnar Hansen, right? Mm-hmm. Gunnar Hansen was born in 1947. Okay. So if we extrapolate that out to 2021, when the film is supposed to have taken place,
right?
That means that Leatherface is doing all this at the ripe old age of 74. So when we talk about the movies, keep in mind 74-year-old. I'm just going to go on a limb and say not taking care of himself super well. And this is what you get. So just keep that in mind. Michael Myers, same thing. Michael Myers is in his 70s. I don't know what's happening with these movies.
I don't know. Is this some sort of is this, and this movie especially, it was egregious in it. Was this movie just some like generational war nonsense, like Boomer versus Gen Z? What it is? Or I don't even know if it's millennial or Gen Z. What the hell? It's I want to, because I know what I am. I want to say it's Gen Z.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't, but it was weird. Let's yeah, I mean, so elevator pitch is like hipster Gen Z folk from Austin. Don't want to keep paying Austin prices because the rent be too damn high, and
that's accurate. Yeah.
And decide to go buy up some little small town called Harlow and rent it out, and somehow that's where Leatherface has been living, and now he's pissed.
That's it. That's it. 74-year-old Leatherface goes on a rampage.
Because they gentrified Granny right out the damn house. So
I'm not 100% against him on that one. So there was a town of Harlow.
Nate has a pennant like that just says Leatherface, and he's just sitting there like he's at a fucking sports game, just like rah rah rah.
Leatherface. There was a Harlow, Texas, near Greenville, which is northeast of Dallas. that did exist and did fall into basically Ghost Townville and just went off maps after a while in the mid 1900s. So that exists. If I were to extrapolate where Harlow is supposed to be in Texas, it said it was like a 7-hour drive from Austin, which means you're like way west. You're getting close
you're going to El
like
Paso. Yeah,
you're almost to El Paso. You're like somewhere between Fort Stockton, or like you're Odessa, Midland, somewhere between there and El Paso, right? You're
yeah, maybe close to like Amarillo. Like you could be toward the Oklahoma side more so than the west. At 7 hours.
Maybe.
I know everyone tuned in to hear us discuss Texas geography.
Texas Geography Massacre.
It's a real big fucking state, y'all.
Yeah, it's real big. If you drove from McAllen in the south to Chicago and you went a certain way, almost half the trip you'd be in Texas. So think about it that way. So yeah, anyway, so Harlow, Texas, Ghost Town, they go there, right? So this movie was 81 minutes. It felt longer. And it's a direct sequel to only the first movie. They couldn't even time it out for like a 50-year anniversary or anything. Couldn't even do that, right? Halloween H2O. Any of that stuff. Couldn't even pull that. So you basically get almost 50 years later. Leatherface's killing spree continues. It's just like whatever. So this movie was supposed to come out in 2021, but the screen tests or the focus group testing and the screenings were so bad that they didn't release it in the theaters and instead sold to streaming, where Netflix mercifully picked it up. This is a Fede, Fede Alvarez, our friend, Don't Breathe, previous episode, Don't Breathe, Evil Dead remake, which is one of the better remakes, to be honest, if you're going to go horror remakes. And he helped write the story on this one, along with the director of last year's Don't Breathe 2. And they're usually a good combo. And in this one, I don't know what happened. So there's that. You would think you got Fede, you got Texas Chainsaw, it may not be so bad. It's not the best. The director is David Blue Garcia. You might remember him from Almost Nothing. He directed a movie called Tejano in 2018 and has cinematography credits for movies like Bloodfest and an episode of Red vs. Blue, the Halo short series, and Monster Energy Outbreak House South by Southwest. So that is the level. That's the level you're getting in this movie. Now, it's not to say that new directors can't be good, but just setting the tone here in terms of what we got. We got Elsie Fisher as Lila in the movie, who you might remember from her breakout role in 8th Grade, directed by Bo Burnham, and from season 2 of Castle Rock as Joy Wilkes, Annie Wilkes' daughter. Yep. She is starting to be in more things, which is good. She's also a voice in the Addams Family, the first Addams Family animated film. Okay. And she's in a movie that's supposed to come out at some point this year called My Best Friend's Exorcism. The year is 1988.
Oh,
yeah.
So that one is based off a book, I think. It's by the same person that the Last Girl Survival Club or something like that.
Okay. Interesting.
I have one of the author's books. I have to read it, but yeah, I'm excited. That could be good. I don't know. I mean, book to film adaptations, but I think that the book got a lot of great reviews, and most of those books are actually very highly reviewed.
So I wanted to read the summary of this. The year is 1988. high school sophomores, Abby and Gretchen, have been best friends since 4th grade. But after an evening of skinny dipping goes disastrously wrong, Gretchen begins to act different. She's moody. She's irritable, and bizarre incidents keep happening whenever she's nearby. Abby's investigation leads her to some startling discoveries, and by the time their story reaches its terrifying conclusion, the fate of Abby and Gretchen will be determined by a single question: is their friendship powerful enough to beat the devil? Oh, that's a good summary. I had to go in for that. You also have her sister in the film, Melody, played by Sarah Yarkin, who is not in a ton of stuff other than Happy Death Day to You. So she was Dre in Happy Death Day to You, if you remember her. It's like 4th or 5th build, something like that.
Yeah.
Did you remember her at all?
No,
me either. So there's that.
It's going great.
And you got other people. You got other people in the movie, but I don't care. It's not a movie about the actors in it. Although John Larroquette is the narrator, which threw me off. Night Court's own John Larroquette. That's about it. The person who plays Leatherface is Mark Burnham, who you might remember from
Bo Burnham.
No.
Oh, okay.
I
threw you off. That's great.
They look very dissimilar. I was going to say you might remember him from nothing, but there's that. So the movie, I'm just going to get into it. So the movie was so bad that when they test screened it, they decided to sell it to streaming. So it wasn't even good enough for the theaters, right? So that means that you're already starting at.
Oh, fuck. Sorry. Did you bring up Alice Krieg, the lady who's like Miss MC?
No, I did not.
Because she is the witch and goddamn Gretel and Hansel. And
I still haven't seen it yet.
My blood pressure spiked about 5 points.
I still haven't seen it. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the episode.
This movie is unfairly getting docked 2 points just for that.
I'm waiting for the 5-star review to come in so that I can.
I want a 10-star review for that one. Sorry, guy, I didn't mean to derail you.
No, so the movie doesn't start in a great way. I would say some of the cuts in this film are terrible. Like there's just like some sharp cuts. There's like, why are they quick cutting? Like what? The end of the movie is a quick cut.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is happening? Why? So there's that. And I gotta go through this right off the bat. So we have basically a requel, Jamie Lee Curtis and Halloween action from Sally from the original movie. She basically becomes Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, Laurie Strode. Yep. She carries with her the picture of her friends taken on the Polaroid by Leatherface's cousin. His cousin, right? Yeah. In the original. In the original movie, he tears up the picture because they won't pay him and cuts somebody and throw him out the van. She still has that picture. So continuity shattered. right off the bat from introducing her character. So negative 100 points for that. Yep. No, I mean, come on. What do we? I noticed that instantly, maybe because I've watched it too many times, but that was a little ridiculous. Leatherface, we're supposed to believe, killed all those people because they came into his house. So he's very territorial about houses. People come into his house this time, and he goes on a killing spree, but way past the people that came into the house. So if you think about it, like in terms of the title of the film, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this one's a lot more massacre, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got that going for it in terms of like, hey, look, the massacre part is happening. The first movie is what, 4 people killed? 5 people killed?
4. Well,
yeah. She was the 5th, right? Yeah. And so in this movie, they've really upped the ante, right? I haven't seen all the other Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies because they're all of varying quality. I've seen a couple of them. Saw the Jessica Biel one. I saw the Matthew McConaughey one.
I'll say, yeah.
I haven't seen it. There's a Leatherface one from a couple of years ago I did not see. And so, you're just getting Leatherface just dormant 50 years, just right back into it. So it's basically Halloween.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I did read something where I think Fede Alvarez or whoever was one of the other directors was talking about how they weren't explicitly like knocking out all the other movies. They were kind of like saying, well, just at this point, he's here. You as the viewer have to decide if those other movies took place or not. And I'm like,
no, they specifically say it's been like almost 50 years since this big massacre. I hate to spoil it for you, but in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, a lot of people be dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell you on that one.
I don't know.
Did everyone forget about those people?
Yes.
You can't chainsaw death, very distinctive coroner report. I feel like there'd be some communication on this one.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
I've lived in Texas now for what, 12, 13 years. And I've lived in Louisiana for the other, but however long. Very shockingly few chainsaw massacres in this state. I dare say just the one.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
I would assume that if that happened, it would be noteworthy. I don't know.
Yeah.
This isn't
agreed.
It's
agreed. Yeah. It's not I don't know.
Look,
just make it
Texas F-150 massacres. Sure. All day, every day. But now with Texas edition.
Texas Feral Hog Massacre. Absolutely. No problem. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. They just don't know what they're trying to do here. It's a little bit of a mess.
What are you talking about? They know you're in Texas. So let's make sure we bring up Austin and big city folk, which I love that Austin is big city folk, even though it's like the smallest of the cities. It's just we're all new young people
it's
are
like
coming
the
in.
Fourth, it's like the fourth, almost fifth biggest city in the state. But other than that, it's fine. Yeah.
We got chainsaws and massacre. If that's all you came here for, you're gonna get what you paid for in spades.
And let's say that you last used a chainsaw to massacre people and you hide it in a wall for 50 years. Spoiler alert, it's not going to work. I could barely get my chainsaw that's like 1 year old to work without like lubricating it. I can't even imagine. I was trying to cut down some trees. I'm like, oh shit, I got to really lubricate this. I've used it like 3 times. I can't even imagine after 50 years what a chainsaw would be doing at that point. I don't know.
Let's be honest. I wonder if Leatherface, he's got to be getting endorsements. Like, think about, Nate, you play guitar. Think about every jackass that's in a band that's like, I'm sponsored by Fender and I only use the Strata. He's like, okay, sure. Here's my, he's like got the deal where he's getting like a custom fucking John Deere,
no, he's pronounced by he's sponsored by Still.
Oh,
Still is a good chainsaw. My son has a fake Still chainsaw that actually works, but it has plastic teeth on the outside.
Why can't we see why can't we see Leatherface in Lumber Sports on ESPN Ocho? At least that should be on the TV. Like that should just be like a fucking like just a little bone to throw to the fans. Like, oh look, he's watching Lumber Sports.
Yeah, like there's like the one with like the log in the water where you have to like knock the other person off.
Yeah.
There's the one where you try to climb the tree as fast as possible with like the leather strap thing.
Could you imagine?
There's all kinds of things.
Could you imagine they worked Leatherface and doing that? Like you're climbing a tree to get away, and he's just like, just like charging.
He should have been like an Edward Scissorhandsy type person who uses his chainsaw to make like really intricate, like delicate, like woodworking type stuff in his off time. There was nothing in between There's almost nothing in between for Sally, who comes after him in the dumbest way possible. There's almost nothing in between for anything. No one cares about anyone. The reason that the first movie works is because there's this group of people who are, different archetypes, and they have a relationship together, and they start going deeper into Texas. And the deeper they get, the more ominous it gets. It builds, right? Like you're building. All of a sudden, you're going to a house, right? You have the brother in the wheelchair. You can't get anywhere. All of a sudden, someone's missing. It ratchets up everything that happens, right? In a fairly organic way until it gets to a horrifying climax, right?
Yeah.
This movie, I mean, the first kill is so early. They barely set up the people. They're kind of hinting and whatever at like the backstory of the people, but it's just like there's like some kind of flashbacks and callbacks and whatever. It's not cohesive at all. The cuts are really short and like tight cuts. So it's like scene. Like it doesn't flow super well. I mean, no one cares about these characters. Although I don't know why people are complaining about woke people being like annoying, whatever. Like, oh yeah, all the dumb jocks who were like the racist, misogynist guys in the 80s. Like, oh yeah, that's why one getting murdered. Everyone should get murdered. Who gives a shit, right? Like, come on. And it's none of the characters meant anything except the two sisters, really, and almost then barely.
And look, I can already hear people screaming at you specifically.
Oh no!
No, but like, I mean, look, if you're going into Texas Chainsaw Massacre at this point and expecting like great character development and all that, I don't even think we're expecting. I think the low level of what we want from like characters is, do I at least care that he's here? Am I just really here just to watch him just straight murder everybody?
It's pronounced character. Okay, we should care about them. Boom.
Oh my
Set
god!
Up.
I hate. But no, I hate that
you need. You just can't have everyone just be like super unlikable and blah, and then they get killed. Like you got to have some stakes. They obviously set the stakes up, for the last people to be the ones you care about the most. That's how they kind of set it up, right? That's how these movies work. But I mean, you got to try a little bit, just a little bit.
My problem with it, honestly. So. And we'll get into some things about like, I mean, let's talk two things. First off, let's talk about this overall premise. Okay. First off, even before the premise, you and I are horror fans. Lisa's not here, obviously. I would tell you that she probably wouldn't think this is scary, but the gore would probably be a lot for her.
Yes, this is more gory.
Largely why we gave her the pass on this one, because and it played out like I thought. Did you find this movie scary at all? Is there at any point, even, and again, I realize that we are horror fanatics. We watch everything under the sun. This is not, I never felt tense. I never, and I think that to your point about the caring, I never was scared. I never
the most tension was the girl who was in the ambulance having to try to escape and whatever. That was probably the most tense. It also happened to be the very first kill in the movie.
Yeah.
Of that main character. So it was all downhill from there because it was creepy seeing Leatherface in the field, right? In the field a little bit. That actually got a little bit of a creep factor. They used it for the background of the poster on Netflix, right? For this. I mean, that I think was kind of cool actually. The kills were brutal. It was brutal, pretty brutal kills, but not scary. I mean, other than that kill where she's kind of like gingerly taking off the seatbelt and trying to act dead and whatever. I thought that had some tension, I think. But other than that, almost nothing. Almost nothing for me.
Yeah, I mean,
it was not great.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, think of Game of Thrones, right? How many people every week were just like, please, dear God, don't kill Tyrion. Like you're just like you're so worried that your characters are going to meet some untimely end, and it could happen. And that's what made Game of Thrones so tense up to even like some of the last ones. Like I know everyone shits on the last season, but even those last ones, you're like, Who's going to survive? You don't in this one. You don't care. Like at no point did I even care. If
during this movie, there were kills basically designed for you to say, "Holy shit, this could be anybody," right? Like the guy who's local to the town, the contractor who's helping them, right? I think his name is Richter. He gets killed in a way you would not expect at all. Kind of out of nowhere, and you just don't care is the problem. So I think that, and done a different way, could have been oh shit, like a Game of Thrones, like a major character dying way before you anticipate. But it didn't land because there was really no setup. Now, to be fair, Game of Thrones is a show where you can, once you're like, you're 3 seasons in, you're like, oh God, I've had so much time. Sure. I mean, so it's a little harder.
It's a different expectation.
In an 80-minute movie, it's a little harder for that.
Well, and in horror movies,
they didn't even come close. Though.
Well, in horror movies, you expect some of the most of the main cast to die. TV shows not often, right? Now, I want to get into the kills because I think there were a lot of positives around the kills because that's really where they spend their time on. Let's get the kills going, and there's some cool stuff. We'll talk about that. It's not all shit from us. We're trying to be friendly. The premise is
spoiler
dumb,
alert. Spoiler alert. The story is not great. In Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, and the acting and the actors they cast also not the best. But Leatherface himself, although 74 years old, does do some work in this one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's talk about this premise first. So the premise of this is these kids are moving out here to basically set up some like Gen Z millennial utopia.
Oasis. Yeah. They're like famous YouTube influencer chef people. The guy's a chef.
I hate all of that, but yes.
Yeah. And he's like, I made, like $10 million off YouTube, and I'm just going to buy a derelict town for like a couple mil probably. And then, rent it out to a bunch of young people who kind of want to make their own kind of town. So that is dumb. I would just say off the bat, it's dumb. In the movie, they call it out as dumb. Doesn't help. It's pretty dumb. It's a dumb reason they get him out there.
No, that doesn't help me build sympathy of your main character is like, this is really stupid. That doesn't really make me feel, that doesn't help me build sympathy for any of this. It's just like, good. You all recognize that you're making a god-awful decision to do this.
Yeah.
Despite a murderer coming, right? Like, this is just a bad overall. What I don't understand is, okay, Leatherface has been lying dormant for 50 years, being taken care of by some lady.
Yes.
And then this lady has a heart attack when they basically wrongfully force her out of her house because they say they had the deed, but they don't. Which I feel like maybe you shouldn't pull up for your big old auction the same day you're having it and be like, okay, cool, this is all ours now, right?
Yeah, they didn't wait long enough for all the stuff to go through. Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't know. I mean, if you have a town with one old lady, that's not so bad. I mean, what's the big deal?
And maybe that's a problem. I don't know why Leatherface, like, who was this lady that Leatherface gave a shit about?
It was a lady who took care of him his whole life. What do you mean?
What do you mean his whole life? He was 50 years ago. He killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, and then he was just with his chainsaw, just kind of walking around the road. He
wasn't a little boy back 50 years ago.
Yeah, he wasn't, but mentally he was. So she took him in. He was the orphanage strongman, and it was fine. Every orphanage needs a strong man, a tall guy. Look, all those jars up top aren't going to grab themselves. All those Confederate flags aren't going to hang themselves. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I don't know. The entire, I realized they had to have like some mechanism to get all these people.
But the guy is 70 plus years old. It doesn't make any sense. He's
almost
running
as old as the fucking lady running the place.
I know. It could have been like siblings. It was so weird. I don't know. He runs fast in this movie. There is some like quick. That I would say is maybe a little jarring. Like some of the runs, I don't know, maybe it was the way they filmed it or whatever. Some of the ways he sprints and runs at people, well, it actually was a little creepy. I would almost give him that too.
The dude's menacing. All right, he's a big
menacing,
hulking dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, it's just so dumb. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Why even if you're you would have just been just as good had you just been like they rolling in town. Oh look, Leatherface is here, and you just started in the murders. Like you might as well. This whole convoluted nonsense of we're auctioning off the town didn't do anything. It was just wasted effort. I don't know. This movie could have been a tight 60.
It could have been. Now let's get into kills because I want to go positive. We've been a little negative here, and by little I mean pretty much mostly. Let's get into the kills because the kills is where it gets interesting. Now,
the very first kill made me literally yell "oh shit" out loud.
He broke a dude's hand,
snapped bone in half,
snapped a bone in half, but like not the wrist, like way above the wrist.
Yeah, like the forearm or something. Yeah.
Oh, yikes! And then that is semi-plausible because like he's an old dude. He's got the old man strength.
What is it with you and this ageism? You're really leaning in on this old man thing.
I don't know. He's just so old. I don't know. So anyway, like, was he taking his heart medicine? No. So right. He's in Leatherface at night. He's taking like 5 pills for Monday. Like he just picks the Monday one up and he's like 5 pills. There's no way that's happening. Anyway. So first kill, snaps the dude. That guy shoots the dude driving who, creepily stops them from going into the town in a very old school, gross, like you're not from here kind of way. Didn't care for that, obviously. And then that guy gets shot, and then the girl who wanted to go with to be nice, who's was that her family who was from around there? No, it was other people's family from around. That's right. The two main sisters, right?
Right.
So yeah, she's just there to be nice and be with her boyfriend. So or fiance. And so when she is there and comes to after everything, she sees Leatherface cutting off the person's face. Now that was creepy as shit. You got to give it that.
Oh yeah,
cutting off the person's face, and she sees it in the side mirror. She's just like so stunned from the crash and what's happening. Eventually, she starts trying to whatever. I mean, Leatherface just guts the dude next to her, right? Because he's still alive even after getting shot after the crash. And then she tries to escape and obviously gets murdered. And people are trying to stop the knife all the time in this movie. And spoiler alert, it does not work. You're not stopping these knives. You're not stopping anything. It is going into you and getting all twisty and whatnot. I mean, you're going to see it all. There's no cutaways. There's no exit to hell cutaways in this one. They're showing everything. Like the dude's face getting pummeled 100 times while the girl watches under the bed. You're going to see every time getting the pummeling. I mean, it's that's where it lingers. The rest of the movie is hard cuts, really short scenes, and it lingers on those moments. That's the focus, right? So any other kills that stick out to you other than that first one in that kind of poppy field or I don't know what those flowers were.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned what's his face, the contractor who just, I mean, he gets his leg just bashed right in.
Yeah, Richter. Yeah, it's Richter.
Yeah, Richter, sure. And proud to be Texan, Texan strong or whatever.
It's Houston strong.
Whatever.
Jesus.
Whatever.
Hurricane Harvey.
He's oh my God, Hurricane Harbor. What
Hurricane Harvey.
Oh, I
not Hurricane Harbor. Jesus. These are very Texas references for anyone. Hurricane Harbor. It's in Galveston. It's like a water-based theme park. Hurricane Harvey was, I guess I did see people on jet skis in the middle of roads because it was it was so flooded. But
he gets beat. I mean, he gets his whole head just basically smashed into a pulp, and you see it.
Ooh, yeah, a lot. No cutaways on that one.
Let's see. I think the one moment that was pretty tense was the chainsaw going through the floorboard while she is like crawling in this crawl space.
A little.
And then she got shit poured all over her, which is like, this is fun for her.
It's called the Shawshank.
Yep.
If you escape and shit goes on you, it's called the Shawshank.
Otherwise, no. I mean, obviously the best scene in this whole movie where they make the money is the bus scene, right?
The bus scene, the setup, that was probably the first idea.
Yeah.
Like Leatherface, a bunch of like young people on their phones going, this guy's so ridiculous. You're canceled, bro, if you do anything. And then he massacres all of them because they're trapped on this bus, right? And that is the scene. That was the pitch of the whole movie, probably, how it got greenlit.
Yeah.
What did you think of that scene?
I mean, the overall brutality is awesome. I mean, look, there's something to be said for gore for the sake of gore, but I mean, this is where the money was, and this is what they were building to. I think that one shot with all their like bloody hands like pressed up against the glass was great. It was just I mean, at that point, it's like, cool. What could you do in that situation? Like that part is the truly only really like quote unquote scary part of the film. Honestly, it's just like, some of these things you look at, you're like, well, these people are idiots. In this case, they're, it's like, oh yeah, y'all are fucked. That sucks.
They were partying.
You're just getting.
They were partying. They were on the bus because it was raining. They were all drinking.
One girl gets like chainsawed right through the middle as she's trying to escape through a window.
She jumps out. It's like a school bus type of window, and she jumps out, and she gets half of her makes it out. The other half, not so much. Yeah, it was. I looked it up. There's 25 kills in this movie, so you're getting the massacre part. For sure. Most of them in the bus. Yeah. More than half.
Now,
I would say. Yeah.
Let's talk about what I really didn't like about this movie. Because I truthfully, Nate, for the first hour-ish of this film, it was all right. I mean, look, I thought it was average. Story notwithstanding, and other points, it was all right. It's the last like 20-ish minutes that really were just like, this is garbage. And I'll lay it out two different things. First off, why build up a Laurie Strode type character and then have her go out like a punk ass?
Have her go out almost instantaneously, I would add. She has a shotgun right next to the dude sitting there, lets him go by.
Yeah.
This movie, because she's frozen with fear. So it's trying to take. I get what it was trying to do. Maybe it's trying to say like she's so frozen with the fear of him almost 50 years ago, and she tried to be tough, and she was like a
Texas
marshal,
Ranger, right? Yeah.
Or marshal. First of all, where were the Texas Rangers? That's failure. Where's Chuck Norris at? I would love to see a Chuck Norris Leatherface fight. I'd love to see that. Love to see that. First of all, I'm going to see a roundhouse kick in his like leg is chopped. But so they're trying to show her like also dealing with the trauma of all the time ago. But one of the things that they did better in Halloween is that they showed her more. Like, how is it impacting her? Why does she feel that she needs to, when she hears on the CB radio, someone mentions something, why does she feel like she needs to go? It's a cursory, they bring it up here and there in little tiny bits, but they're not showing you the character herself. So it isn't a payoff when she actually shows up.
It's the equivalent of them dusting off Neve Campbell for Scream, and then she immediately gets like stabbed by Ghostface in like the second scene she's in. Like it doesn't make any. It really didn't know. It was the first scene she was in. Really, to be honest. Yeah. It was real dumb. The second thing that I
hated. And one more thing, just real quick. Her move was to lock people in a car.
Mm-hmm.
While she shot at Leatherface terribly with a shotgun, even though she's a Ranger, she'd be pretty good with it. Her whole escape in the original movie was a moving car. I just want to point that out there. Like sitting duck car, I'm okay locking you in. How I escaped, moving car, getting away from this guy with a chainsaw, because car beats chainsaw 100 times out of 100, except for the end of this movie. So none of it made sense. It was all stupid. It just and I can handle stupid. I'm talking, this is the guy who wants to watch Leprechaun movies every year. So don't get me wrong. But like, it's just, you can't have it both ways where it's like so dumb, but you're trying to make it like stakes, right? If you're going to try to make serious stakes happen and characters like have trauma and try to deal with it, you got to get into it a little bit, and this movie just doesn't really.
Sorry, I'm going to admit 3 things that pissed me off. So there was 1. 2 is why did we not have our Nick Cage, Mandy chainsaw versus chainsaw match?
That's what I was gonna say. I think look, I mean, after Mandy, chainsaw action's gotta take a step up.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
And I don't know if this movie I don't think this movie meets the Mandy standard.
No. Well, you're not.
I don't think it does.
But you're not doing anything original in this fucking film. Might as well just copy the same bullshit from Mandy. like it's not like you're trying anything inventive with this franchise.
What if Leatherface for his last kill, Leatherface's chainsaw finally breaks? Because he's 50 years old and has never been oiled because it was hidden in a wall, and got shot with a gun. I'm pretty sure.
Multiple.
What if and he went underwater? What he went underwater? There goes the lubricant. So what if he got some hedge clippers instead, and then did the last kill with a hedge clipper? I want to see just anything different. I don't even care. What if he went manual hedge clipper like the Burning? Maybe a Burning throwback with Cropsey. I don't know. That anything would have been good. It just sucked, but.
The other thing,
but to be fair, though, I mean, the brutality in the kills is where it's at. Everything else around it falls apart. I think Elsie Fisher as the younger sister does an okay job, I would say, acting wise. I would say the sister does okay-ish. Everyone else, I think, no. I would say bad. I would say actively bad.
No, it's all bad, Nate. Here's why.
Okay, well, I tried.
You tried. Look, besides the bus scene, besides a couple of the kills, even. There are just some kills that just, I mean, everything sucking detracts from the things that were good, especially in the last series. Why, when they're in the final thing, the 2 sisters, we had like 2 or 3 different times where like one sister's in trouble, then the other one steps in between with a shotgun. They did it twice in the same scene, in the same fight.
Well, it was to show they were both committed
don't.
To helping
I don't.
Okay,
you can't. It's
I'm trying.
Indefensible to do like they were missing somewhere. No, she was knocked in a 2 feet away. She didn't. It's not like she came back from the dead and we thought she was gone. But now it's real dumb. That fight scene in the bottom or in that garage or whatever. The other thing,
trying.
The other thing I don't understand is why. What was the whole look? Was the whole point like with the school shooting thing? Just to like, I know it's to say like, oh, she's doesn't like guns, and so that's why she's not carrying a gun. But then she uses one. Why even bring in the school shooting thing? It made no sense. It was such a weird like backstory thing to try to give someone to garner sympathy, and it. Why?
Yeah, the school shooting scene was one of the creepier scenes also, where she flashbacks to being shot and laying on the ground, seeing everything happen, which transposes onto her being on the ground, seeing Leatherface go after her, and then she gets up this time, right? It's supposed to show that, which, it just isn't very... It's very good at it. Normally, I would defend all this. It's challenging. It felt
real cheap. I don't know. It just, it's one of those things where, like, when people complain about like wokeness in movies, and usually it's you kind of eye roll, like, get over it. This shit's like, it's whatever. In this case, it's like. It was a little bit like it felt like it was just like, let me just add a bunch of different social issues and social media shit to the story that's inevitably about a guy with a chainsaw.
Yeah, it was more about, I mean, something like a culture clash and like a generational clashes. These are themes in movies all over the place. So it's not like a woke versus not woke. It's like the younger generation versus the older generation. It's like in a million movies of all kinds of genres. So it's not really a new thing or anything like that. It's just the most current contemporary one. The thing on this movie is that it tries to associate itself with deeper themes and then does absolutely nothing to actually integrate that into the story in a meaningful way. That's the difference here, is that it's so surfacey. Everything's just so surfacey, except again, the kills and Leatherface. Leatherface looks creepy as shit, right?
Oh yeah.
He's creepy, he's running, he's lumbery, he's huge. I mean, he's killing a lot. He's killing 25 people in this movie.
Oh,
I mean, it's no joke. I mean, that's where the movie excels. Everything else is just, and that's what we got in the Scream movie too, where it was like, there's elevated horror now. There's like, there's better. You can do a slasher movie that's a little bit better than this with minimal effort. You know what I mean? You can put a little time into the story and the characters. You can do a little bit more. It's not, and this is the guy who did Don't Breathe, which was very actually character based and minimal kill based, right? So it was, it was interesting to see that was the team up on the writers of this. I don't know what happened, to be honest. So
yeah, I mean, the last bit, and then we'll get into Final Cut, but the last bit, of course, is, I think why we had two sisters as the main leads, right? Because they wanted to give you both because if you look at the original, like one of the reboots for a few years ago and the original one, right? The original one, you have someone get away in a car that's driving off. And another one, they tease it, but then she gets chainsawed right through the back in the back seat.
Yep.
So this time they had to make sure you get both. So one sister makes it out in a self-driving car while the other one gets yanked out, and then you get to see her literally get to straight decapitated.
Yeah.
And then Leatherface does his little patented spin around dance moves. Which what I like is if you start playing that's I like the way you move while he's dancing with his severed head, it matches, and it's a fun ending for this film.
What's a better ending song for that? Let's see. I got my mind set on you because it's mine.
I'm with you. I got it. Thanks
I like that one. I like that one. Head Over Heels would be good too. I mean,
it's. I don't know.
Because I'm happy I said to take your head and wave it around for you. No, nothing.
Oh God! You know what? On that note, that was. I mean, what did you think about the ending? What did you think about that ending, real quick?
It sucked. I don't know. It sucked. Right, I mean, I love people dying unexpectedly in movies. I love it. I love it so much. TV shows too. Game of Thrones, loved it. Yeah. People dying unexpectedly is my favorite thing. I don't like and this is why I like some of the more arty movies, because I don't like the formulaic type stuff anymore. Like I'm a little over that, to be honest. Although some movies still do it well. So I mean, you gotta give props to that. So I like it. I like it out of nowhere kill. I like it, whatever. And it's just like, I don't care. Like, I just don't. You knocked a 74-year-old man down deep into water with his 50-year-old chainsaw. And somehow in the time it took these teens and 20-somethings to get into a car and start moving, that guy got all the way out of that, even though he weighs, I don't know how much. Yeah. His chainsaw still is functioning, and he has enough wherewithal to rip the lady out of the car and decapitate her in like one hand motion. You know, if that's the movie, then that's the movie.
Look, I don't understand. Why did he pull her out the side? Why didn't they open the sunroof? Why didn't he just reach over in the sunroof, pull her head up, decapitate her, and then leave her headless body in the self-driving car with the sister while he's holding
that
the
would
head?
have been good.
That would have been so much better.
Then her body goes over the steering wheel and she has to keep it self-driving. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I don't know. You know, it's just, who knows?
Let's just get
And why was Leatherface even killing them? So, like, everyone I see must die because the lady took care of me for 50 years is dead. Is that what we're supposed to believe?
Yes, apparently.
Okay. All right, fine.
Let's just get into this final cut.
Final cut.
May I go first, or do you want to go first?
Oh no, go. It's okay.
I mean,
I wanna hear what you got to say.
All right. So
look, what do we got?
As I mentioned, I think the first hour was better than the last 30 minutes.
The last 20 minutes is an 80-minute movie.
Fair. Well, okay, and you saw that there's an end credit scene at the very end of the credits.
I did.
Where he goes back to the house where it's all started. So cool.
Sucks if you live there. Yeah, that's not great.
Cool. Yeah, I wonder if he has the deed to that one, or if he just starts over. It's just a vicious cycle of gentrification.
He kept the deed in the wall with the chainsaw, just hidden the whole time. He stole the deed from Grandpa. Was Grandpa going to fight him back? No, he was not. So that's an easy.
Grandpa's crusty old ass is still in there. I'm worried. It's bad. This movie's bad. It's got some cool kill scenes. It's not the worst film I've seen, and I would suspect, right, if you're really just in it just to watch people get murdered and you really don't care about like character or story, like we talked about it. If you're not into prestige horror films or elevated horror films, or if A24 is not your bag, then this might be fine for you. I
think so. Yeah.
Even for me, it was just too dumb for me, and there's nothing new to it. It's the same shit as any other Leatherface. I'm just
wondering, like, why? That's what I'm saying. Like, why this one? Like, this one has just been done so many times. Like, give me one. Like, if you're gonna suck on a horror film, give me one that hasn't sucked in a while. You know what I mean? Like, I just want one that hasn't sucked. Like, give me like, a new take on something a few decades old that maybe you could throw a new spin on or something. Like, you did Leatherface like 4 years ago or something. Like, it's not. It's like really soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say here's my ultimate issue with this film, and I mean, we've said it a bunch of times already. So, but why does this movie exist? There's nothing new about it. Just watch the original. Watch any of the others. They're all not great to some degree, but at least they all have sort of different things about them that make them stand out. Nothing about this movie stands out beyond the fact that it's just modern polish. What I think is really frustrating with this is if you're going to go through the trouble of trying to establish in the requel rules of the lone survivor coming back and having this final showdown, make that be the crux of the film. And it's not. It's a footnote in this movie. What we should have gotten, Nate, the movie we should have done is, why aren't we following her hunting him over the years? Why aren't we following her tracking him down? She's become a Texas Ranger to find him. Let's make that the thing. Let's follow her. I'm more interested in what she's been doing and then building that final cut down. She can still die. We can get to that point and he overcomes, he basically, there's just no stopping him, which is, I mean, but you start getting into Michael Myers territory, admittedly, but at least, I mean, fuck, wouldn't it have been more badass, more interesting for them to, she's been hunting for him. She finally finds him at the house. She finally figures out where it's at. She has a whole group of fucking Texas Rangers, and Leatherface just goes through them.
Like the firefighters in Halloween Kills. And this is, and even if she dies at the same point in the movie at the same time, if you see her doing the work to try to find him and almost missing him or whatever, because he started in a different town right outside Austin, right? That's what it said. So clearly Harlow is huge drive. So he made it there somehow, right? So like if she had missed him a little bit, or like, and her marriage had fallen apart because she was so obsessed with it, or she got fired from her job eventually because she was on the side stuff, and then she's living on this way and prepping always for him and has that photo Like all, it's like the photo keeps showing up in the background of every kind of level of flashback. That would have set up then even if she died in a short amount of time, it would have made it more impactful in any way. But you don't see her. You just hear like a whisper, and then she's there, and then she's gone.
Yeah,
and that's it. It needed
wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
Instead, she shows up. She has a 3-minute fight scene, if that, gets chainsawed, and then all of a sudden, even though she's been chainsawed practically in half,
she like got lifted up with a chainsaw, and then she can still shoot. I don't know what's happening. Okay, so this is my.
Let me get my score. Or do you want to say your piece before we just?
No. This is my setup for you giving your score. Okay. So, I haven't heard a rant like this since Halloween Kills. So the question is, this first Halloween Kills, what are you thinking? Because you gave Halloween Kills a 1.
Did I actually give Halloween Kills a 1?
It seems low.
Wait, hold on. That can't be right. I gave it a 1.
It's 100% right.
I was angry.
You were angry, but even now with the passage of time, I think you probably rated a little higher. But Halloween Kills versus this movie, it's you're in very similar territory with both movies, right? So my question is, which one of these is better first before you give your score? Because again, I haven't heard a Mitch rant like that since then. So
I'll tell you what the difference is, Nate. It's not that one is necessarily better than the other. It's really about it's really about what I talked about at the beginning. What were my expectations going in?
Sure.
I had stupid high expectations for Halloween Kills because the first reboot was good. I really enjoyed
it was solid. Very solid movie. Yeah.
I had absolutely low expectations for this film, and it just tripped over itself. So, there's kind of a difference, right? I'm not angry that this movie sucked. I was angry that Halloween Kills sucked. This movie, I'm like, I expected it to suck, and it sucked. Here's where we're at.
Okay.
I'm amazed Lisa gave Halloween Kills a 5.
She did.
That is
something
else.
There's that.
I'm Christ. So, I mean, all right. So I was going to go with a 3 to start.
Yeah.
But now that you've told me it's a 1, God, maybe I would go back on Halloween Kills, and that's one I would maybe bump up.
Too late.
I know.
It's too late.
You know what? I will give this movie a 2.
Oh, okay.
2 out of 10, and only because that bus scene and some of the kills are just ridiculous. The kills in Halloween Kills, they were just kind of brutal and gory, but not like overly inventive, right? It was just like, oh, cool, there's just a knife in the face. That bus scene was just money. I think the creepiness of Leatherface was good. That's about it, and that's 2 things. So 2 points.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna double you up. I'm going 4. I'm gonna go 4 out of 10. Look, everything you said, everything I said, but those kills, man, am I rating a slasher higher just for being a pure slasher? This is interesting. Story garbage, acting garbage, Leatherface continuity garbage. That being said, the kills were ridiculous. It had creepy moments, and surprise kills were there. They didn't land nearly as well as they should have, right. But surprise kills were there. Leatherface walking in that poppy field or whatever that flower field was real creepy. The ambulance scene was creepy. The lead up should have been longer to give the stakes. So that's, 4 is not high. But I did say, oh shit, a couple times. And that bumps it up because, and like Halloween Kills, I never said oh shit. Not one time. Like I didn't say like, oh shit, like that. Like not really. It was so telegraphed, right? Maybe that's what this movie does. This movie is quick kills and whatever, but it doesn't telegraph anything.
Yeah.
The story is garbage. Everything's garbage. But like what's actually happening moment to moment is fluid and not predictable. So that gives it most of the score for that. That's like 3 out of the 4 points is the unpredictability and the high death count of people who are main characters, like pretty fast. So I'll give it a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 house titles.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. That's the opposite how I would have imagined that. That's hilarious.
That is something. All right.
Well, Lisa comes in and gives it an 8. We should have this on this. Like, come on.
Well, we'll probably never know. Where can they find us?
They can find us as always. Texas Podcast Massacre, all your podcast platforms. Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, all of your platforms. 5-star reviews. Gretel and Hansel mentioned on the podcast needs to be 5-star. We have Mitch debating the authenticity of the Human Centipede final sequence, Human Centipede 3 request. So let's just get that 5-star in. Don't just knock it out. Don't worry about it. Make it official. Put a ring on it. All that stuff and get it in there. You can call us 346-246-3143. Let us know your thoughts on Requels, Leatherface. This movie. I think a lot of people are going to like this movie in some ways. The ratings are not great, but I think there'll be a contingent that will think this movie is good. So we want to hear from you. Texas Podcast Massacre @gmail.com if you prefer to contact us by email. And be on the lookout for Oregon-based horror films coming up down the pipe. There's a couple. So so there's that. I'm going to set up a separate podcast called Oregon Talk. Not really. But if you have any Oregon-based questions, like all those things I just mentioned, contact us. Let us know.
There you have it. Well, from all of us here.
There you have it.
From all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, thank you so much for tuning in. And just keep telling yourself, it's only a movie. Good night.